Hey, what's up guys, Jordan Anderson here, and on today's episode we're going to talk about video production company sizes and which is the right fit for you. So if you're fresh out of film school, you're kind of done freelancing, or you're just kind of looking to get a real job, there's a couple video production sizes, different sizes of companies that are going to fit your personality a little bit differently. So I kind of want to go through that. Me having worked at all three of these types of businesses, I just kind of want to share my experience and what I've thought about working at each stage of these. So we're just going to talk about small business, medium-sized business, and large businesses. Small video production business, let's call that a company that makes less than $1 million in revenue per year and is a team of 1 to 3 people. So you're either working by yourself, you're sort of freelancing a little bit, you are working with a partner, it's just the two of you, kind of splitting everything 50-50, or it's a team of 3 where, say, maybe it's a partnership and then you hired a third guy to be the editor or be the producer or director. Let's talk about kind of the pros of working at a small business like that. If you're fresh out of film school and you're looking to get a lot of hands-on experience and kind of learn every aspect of the video production process, then working in a small business like that can be really, really helpful. If you have sort of that entrepreneurial spirit, if you have kind of a high tolerance for risk, you don't really, you're not too worried about having a steady paycheck, or the whole benefits thing isn't really a factor to you, then working in a small business could be pretty fulfilling for you. So the pros of that is, like I said, you get to work on every aspect of the video production company. If it's just you, or if it's you and a partner, then you're handling all aspects of the project. You're getting the client, you're meeting with the client, you're coming up with a concept for the video, you're planning, you're producing, you're location scouting, you're probably shooting the video, you're probably editing the video, and you may be even doing like budgeting and accounting. That's kind of the cool part about it. You're working at all aspects of the business. You're not just in video production, but you're also in the bookkeeping, business marketing, business development, client relations part of the business too. Another great part about it is, since you're so small, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit in the medium-sized business, since you're so small, you're able to move really fast. If you have an idea, if you want to experiment, if you want to start a vlog, you don't really have any barriers. There's no one really telling you no, other than just what the market says. So if you want to experiment on something, you want to try a new technique, you want to experiment on this new video project that's coming up, then you can totally do that. It could be risky, it could not be, it could pay off, but the ability to move fast, innovate, and you're going to see these larger companies moving kind of slow. So let's talk about the downsides of working at a small business. One downside is that you're kind of all alone. You're either completely by yourself, or you're kind of just with a partner, so you don't really have anybody else to kind of turn to if you guys are having some tension. You're just, a lot of times you're just all by yourself. So you have to really have that self-reliant, motivating spirit. You kind of have to be your own parent a little bit. You have to be your own boss. A lot of people say that in a good way, but they don't think about, you have to be your own boss, and sometimes your boss can be a jerk, so sometimes you have to be a jerk to yourself to get you motivated. It's interesting. Everyone has a different way of approaching it. So you are by yourself, so you have to be really self-reliant. The other part about it too is working in these smaller projects. You're a smaller company. You're going to go through the growing pains of a new company. You're in that year 1, year 2, so it's really tough. It can be really unstable. Your paycheck probably won't be that stable. You probably won't have any benefits starting out, or you can't really afford a benefits package for you and your partner, or just you or the 3 of you. So that's the downsides. Let's move on to the medium-sized businesses, and that's going to be a company that's making $1 million in revenue per year up to, let's say, about $10 million in revenue. And these are just my parameters. This is not the official, this is a small, this is medium. This is just sort of keep giving you a little boundary of our discussion. Medium size, $1 to $10 million revenue, and this is going to be a team of 3 to 10 people. So now you're kind of in year 3 of the small business. You're still bringing that small business spirit to the medium-sized business, but now it's a little bit more official. The money's coming in pretty well. The projects are getting bigger. The clients are getting bigger, and your team's getting bigger. But if you're new to the filmmaking industry, you just got out of film school, or you were freelancing before, you were running your own small business, and now you want to join this medium-sized business, again, this is a great way to still get a lot of hands-on experience on all aspects of the project. Since it's still a team of 3 to 10 people, the division of labor is not exactly clear. Everyone's still going to be kind of wearing multiple hats, doing multiple jobs. Even the low-level person, say like maybe you're the new guy, you're going to be still wearing multiple hats too. You may be marketing, you may be social media marketing, but you may even like plan some of your own projects. So you're able to, and you're also, like I said, in the small business, you're also able to still bob and weave and have that really high speed, innovative spirit where you can still experiment. Or now that the business has grown a little bit more, you start to have some sort of stable pillars. So you may have stable 3 to 5 clients over here, and you can experiment with these other 3 to 5 clients, or you can kind of, let's experiment in this 20% of the business and let's keep the other 80% pretty stable. With the medium-sized business compared to the small size, now your paycheck's a little bit more stable. You still may not have the greatest benefits package, if that's what you're looking for, like health insurance or things like that. The benefits do get a little bit better because you're not scrapping it. I mean, you may have an official office you can now go to, and whereas if you're in the small business, you may be working out of your home, or you may be working, in like some shared workspace, kind of like a WeWork space. But now you're a medium-sized business, you can afford an office space, you can afford rent for an office. So it just kind of feels a little bit more legitimate than what you were before. Okay, so let's move on to the large scale business. So this is going to be a company that is making more than $10 million in revenue per year. And this is also going to be a team that is larger than 10 people. So this may be 20 people, this may be 50 people, maybe 100 people. I'm not going to speak to like the large corporations where we're talking like 1,000 people work there. I personally have not worked at a company like that, so I'm just going to talk about what I know working at a company of around 100 people. With the large company, now we're talking about everybody has their own job. There's no more multiple hats. Everyone has a specific job. The division of labor is quite clear. So in the medium-sized business and the small business, it was kind of unsure like who did the marketing, who does producing, who does directing, who does solely the editing. Now that you're at a large company, you have one job. You are the producer, you are the editor, you are the cinematographer. That doesn't mean to say it's so strict, but you just have, in these kind of large companies, you have to have sort of a clear division of labor, otherwise you just have a mess. Like there's too many people to manage. And speaking of managing, you now probably have a manager, and you have a boss, and you have a supervisor, and you have the CEO. There's now a clear division of hierarchy, whereas the medium size and small size is kind of a little bit more horizontal, I think is the word, where just, you kind of, your boss is, yes, he's the boss, he's the owner, but you're like, he's only one step below you, sort of. Whereas like in the big corporate, large scale companies, it's clear, like he's been, there's a clear hierarchy. Let's just say that. This is still positive. This is for people who have the low tolerance of risk. So this is a very stable job. This is clearly a 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday. Your paycheck is very stable. Benefits are also kicking in now. So now the company's large enough, you probably do have pretty decent health insurance and all this kind of like added benefits, paid time off. It's a little bit more structured. So if you're fresh out of film school and you're looking for, and let's say you don't have you're not really entrepreneurial, you're not super risk-taking as a person, you kind of just want a stable job where you can kind of learn about the filmmaking process but not really expose yourself to too much risk, then working in a large-scale company like this is a great idea. At small scale and medium size, if you get a project, it kind of goes straight down the funnel, and you are working on the project from beginning, middle, and end. You probably made up the concept, you may even shoot it, and you may edit it, and you may do all the things in between. At a larger company, you may only put your little fingerprint on one aspect of the production process. So you may just write the script, you may just shoot it, you may only edit it. In these large companies, projects kind of come down the funnel, and they have to kind of be divvied up. This producer takes this job, this producer takes this job. This is just my experience. I mean, I'm sure there are large companies that do follow that single project to the very end. So let's talk about the downside. So the downside of a large company, and I've kind of spoken to this about already, but it's the speed. It's the innovative speed. It's the ability to make changes because there's a lot more people involved. And that just means there's going to be Now, instead of dealing with projects, we're now dealing with people. We're now dealing with emotions, and we're dealing with politics and kind of red tape and seniority and ego. There's a lot more involved than what it was at the small business. At the small business, it was just you and your partner deciding what to do. Now you may have an idea and you have to send it to your supervisor. Your supervisor has to talk to their boss about it. Their boss, the head of the departments, have to have a meeting about it. Then they come back to the supervisor and tell them what they think we should do, and then eventually you'll be told whether or not your idea got through. It's a much slower process in terms of innovative ideas, changing the business model, changing services, like you want to do this new vlog for the large scale company. Well, you might have to get approval from marketing, you might have to get approval from the CEO to get the strategy right. There's a lot involved. It's not just like, let's make this change and let's do it tomorrow. So if you do have an entrepreneurial spirit, if you do, or kind of like you really love to innovate and you love to really go fast and like make changes and just, kind of move fast, break things sort of way, then a large scale company might kind of cramp your style a little bit. You might have to kind of restrain yourself a little bit. You have to gain a little bit of patience. These things just can't change that fast just because there's too many people involved. There's like, when you get to a company that large, you're now dealing with a communications issue where you have to communicate a single idea to 100 people and make sure that they're all on the same page. And that's a huge process. Whew. Okay, so having worked at all three different types of companies, worked for myself, I worked for a medium-sized business, I'm working for a large video production business now. They all have their pros and cons, and everyone's needs and everyone's what you need now in your point in life is going to be different than what it was 2 or 3 years ago. It's going to be different in 4 years. When you're young, you don't really care about benefits. You may not need health insurance. You may be on your parents' health insurance. You may not need a lot of money because you're just scrapping it, living in an apartment with 3 other people. You could be just looking for the experience. You could just be looking to work under this mentor, and the older you get, all those priorities are going to change. And they're going to change again. And right now, my priorities are a certain way, and I know in 3 to 5 years, they're going to change again. So if you have the luxury to choose a job you want, or if you have the luxury of kind of choosing which company you want to work at, you really have to have some self-awareness about your personality type. How tolerant are you of risk? How much money do you need? How stable of a life do you want to have? You really just have to kind of like analyze yourself and understand what exactly you need at this moment of time. And just be aware, like I said, that your priority is going to change. You're going to be at this job for maybe a couple years, who knows, maybe a couple months. And your priorities are going to change, or you're going to take the job and realize, I don't really care that I have a stable paycheck, or like money right now is not an issue for me, or like I don't really need a cushy job, or I prefer a job that has more of this or less of this. It's understanding that. It's understanding how you fit in the world, how you fit in your little world, and that's what's most important. So it's important to know what's out there, and it's important to know what you may be getting yourself into. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. If you've worked at these types of companies, what has your experience been? So thanks for watching, guys. My name is Jordan Anderson, and as always, we'll see you next week.